An even bigger challenge, climate change. It was right that we began with the minister in charge of food in India, food processing. This is a very big concern. The graph that you see there on the left shows you the increase in temperature that has steadily gone up since we began recording temperature in the world. It has gone up by over 1.5 degrees centigrade, which is the critical number that climate experts warn that if we exceed or surpass, we will continue to have terrible, devastating events. We are now at the level of surpassing 1.5 degrees centigrade, and the last 2 years were the hottest years on record. I want to call your attention to an amazing talk at Davos last month by the former IMF Managing Director and Chief Economist, Gita Gopinath. Gita Gopinath made the very provocative statement at Davos that pollution in India is a bigger economic threat than any tariffs that the United States can impose. And she came out with some startling numbers. She pointed out that in a recent World Bank report, as many as 1.7 deaths every year in India, 1.7 million deaths in India every year result from the combination of climate change and pollution. This is 18% of all mortality in India. She claimed that this was so important that it would outweigh any tariff imposed, any cost of any tariffs imposed by the President of the United States. To put this in perspective, today, if you go to the air quality index in New Delhi, today it was hovering around 200. That's 23x, 23 times what the World Health Organization says is the safe level for air quality. That is what we are seeing here. But there is hope. What I have shown you here, if you can see it, you can see the yellow lines. The yellow lines are India's particulate matter, 2.5, which measures air pollution across many of India's largest cities. As you can see, since 2011, it's been rising, only starting to decline. India is home to some of the most polluted cities in the world. But there is hope. The red lines that you see there, which were dramatically high, just as high as India, and have now declined precipitously, those are all the Chinese cities. So what China has done is it went from particulate matter, which was equal to or exceeded India's in many cities, and it dramatically reduced pollution in all those cities. It's now below the world average, which in this graph is the dotted line. So there is opportunity, there is hope, but this is a very serious challenge. So given these challenges, given what we heard from the minister, from our honorable minister in the previous talk, what do I, as an outsider, feel should be priorities going forward? First priority would be for India to deepen ties with friends and contain others. What do I mean by that? Friendshoring, finding ways to be resilient, not worry as much about efficiency as in the past, but worry a lot about safety of supply chains. One very important accomplishment in the last several weeks has been the signing of the free trade agreement between the EU and India. Together, they account for 25% of global GDP. The EU made some very important commitments. They're lowering or eliminating tariffs on 90% of their exports, on 90% of their home market goods. They're giving India the opportunity to make inroads in many areas: garments, foodstuffs, food processing, you name it. In return, they are asking for access to the Indian market. In particular, the agreement will give them lower tariffs on exports of lower-priced cars to India, on exports of olive oil, on exports of wine to India. This is a tremendous opportunity for both regions that are not affected, that are not part of the US, China, Russia group. So this is very exciting and very strategic. What should India do